Welcome to my creative critical reflection. First of all, question 1. How does your product use and challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? First of all, the conventions of an indie rock performance are as follows. Performance on a stage, a lack of coordination in outfits worn by the band, great deal of camera movement, including separate shots of the entire band, but mainly focusing on the lead singer. The use of instruments in the performance, the use of a muted colour scheme. Conventions of a narrative in the indie rock genre are the use of Todorow's narrative theory, the focus on the protagonist, and for the narrative to portray an interpretation of the song's lyrics. I conform to the codes and conventions of indie rock performances by choosing the school's main hall stage as the setting of my performance. I further conform to the convention of the indie rock genre as the location contained many muted colours such as brown and black. However, I also challenged the conventions of the indie rock genre by applying a filter on my film which brightened the occasional bright colour such as the guitarist's blue shirt. The costumes worn by the actors in my music video further conformed to the indie rock performance, as I instructed my actors not to coordinate their costume and wear many typically worn costumes in indie rock performances such as shirts and jackets. I also made sure that my actors wore very muted colours such as brown, dark blue and black, alongside very few instances of colour, challenging the conventions of the genre. Furthermore, I used many shots of the lead singer, such as the tracking shot in which he walks onto the stage, which signifies that he is the focal point of the performance. I also made sure that my actors played their instruments and played their instruments with confidence. The instruments used in the performance were guitar, bass, drums, and the human voice. I conformed to the conventions of the rock music video narrative through my use of Todorow's narrative theory. The film starts with an equilibrium, that being before the race, when the runner is nervous but confident. The disruption and recognition comes when the runner loses the race. The majority of the narrative focuses on the runner's attempts to repair the disruption when he trains extensively to win the next race. I also conform to the conventions by having the narrative focus on one main protagonist, that being the runner. There are numerous scenes where he is the focal point of the scene, having no other actors with him. These shots contain many close-ups exposing the character's emotions. Furthermore, the narrative relates to the lyrics of the song. The lyrics detail an underdog story in which someone has to overcome a great obstacle. I chose to relate these lyrics to the sport of running. My products conform to the typical representation of indie musicians by having the performance contain all males. Indie rock is a primarily male-dominated genre. This is shown by the fact that many indie rock music festivals, such as Reading and Leeds, have lineups dominated by male acts. However, whilst in recent years female-fronted indie bands such as Haim Churches and Wolf Alice have amassed critical acclaim and also many fans, the largest indie rock acts continue to be male. I challenged the typical representation of race and ethnicity by having many of my band members be from Asian countries. For example, the drummer is from the Philippines, the guitarist is from the Philippines, and the bassist is from India. Although many countries in Asia do have vibrant rock scenes, it is apparent that the majority of music being exported worldwide is from North America or Europe, with very little representation being given to countries outside the sphere. My digipack also conforms to the typical indie rock conventions on a variety of levels. For example, I chose to include various images of the band rehearsing. Photos of bands playing music and rehearsing are extremely common throughout indie rock photography and digipacks. The album name adheres to the typical codes and conventions of the indie rock genre, as it is both abstract and it also has a message. However, this message is certainly up to interpretation. A Day to Remember is abstract with no clear meaning, however it could suggest many things. It could suggest that listening to the album is a major moment in someone's life, a very braggadocious statement which fits in with the indie rock mindset. Many indie musicians are known for making outrageous, self-praising statements in the press. My website also conforms to the typical indie rock band website conventions by promoting the band's work, promoting upcoming tours, promoting links to the band's music, and providing a page dedicated to where fans can buy merchandise. This focus on promotion is prevalent throughout all band websites.